Continuing the apparent deconstruction of his predecessor's legacy this week, President Trump announced changes to recent economic inroads made with Cuba.
It's hard to think of a policy that makes less sense than the prior administration's terrible and misguided deal with the Castro regime.
The decision is expected to curb travel and clamp down on transactions involving ties to the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces, which, until recent years, has had a firm grip on the communist island nation's economy. And while Trump's move is popular among the South Florida electorate that assisted in his ascension to the White House, the lead-up saw several national lawmakers and business groups push back. Travel companies and agricultural associations also warned fulfilling this particular campaign promise would drain American jobs. Even domestic and international human rights organizations, critical of the long-standing regime, have voiced concerns that reversing course might embolden hardliners and renew scapegoating of the United States. Reacting to Trump's announcement, the U.S. Agriculture Coalition for Cuba, a conglomeration of farm and food interests pursuing free trade with the Pearl of the Antilles, pointed out the only buyer of U.S. farm products in Cuba is Alimport, a state-run entity not tied to the business arm of the military. Still, the group fears any new opportunities to get American goods into the country could be cut off. Several pieces of bipartisan legislation have been active in Congress aimed at travel and trade options with the Caribbean nation. They include everything from lifting the embargo first put in place by President Eisenhower to a 2% user fee on all agricultural trade with Cuba. The revenue might have been used to compensate Americans whose property was seized following the 1959 Cuban Revolution. And while business and lawmakers may be forced to recalibrate their collective efforts, Trump himself has been accused of violating the embargo as an entrepreneur in the late 1990s. For Market to Market, I'm Josh Buettner.